out of the dugout for St. Louis, and he's already to the mound and begins his warm-up tosses. Michael Bourne, the speedster, leads things off, hitting .288. Kaz Matsui at .257. Miguel Tejada, all-star shortstop at .325. Carlos Lee, a lot of pop in the middle of this lineup. He's a left fielder. The third baseman tonight, Jeff Blum. Hunter Pence, also an all-star in right field. Chris Coste, the former Philly backup catcher, is at first base with Houston. Humberto Quintero is the catcher tonight, and the pitcher batting ninth, Wandy Rodriguez. The Marshall Wireless starter for the Cardinals, Chris Carpenter, and when he's right and healthy, one of the best in baseball.
Well, now he's got one of the best ERAs in all of baseball. .219, has enough innings to qualify for the league leaders. He's on a 4-game winning streak, but he'll be opposed by a hot pitcher who's on a 5-game winning streak.
And that's Rodriguez, as they are 14-7 in his 21 starts this year for Wandy. Holiday in left, he's swinging a hot bat. The rookie Colby Rasmussen, Ryan Ludwig. Mark DeRosa homered last night. Lugo at short, Schumacher at second, Albert over at first, Chris Carpenter and Yadier Molina. The battery tonight and the Cardinals defense is brought to you by Auto Tire. Chris Carpenter, last time out, picked up a victory against the Dodgers 6-1 as he went 7 innings, gave up 9 hits in that game. His previous start was against Houston, and that was that rare blown save by Ryan Franklin as Carpenter gave the Cardinals 8 innings and only 8 hits allowed and 2 runs allowed.
Carpenter's career ERA as a Redbird is under 3, and when he starts a game, the Cardinals win almost at a 700 clip. He doesn't beat himself, he doesn't walk anybody, he doesn't allow many home runs, and he's just an outstanding pitcher that competes on every pitch.
Now you always have to close the bullpen door. Always got to get that closed. And Houston was late getting into the bullpen. Now Carpenter is ready with our first pitch of the game, which is brought to you by Domino's. And away we go. Michael Bourne led off the game with a double against Mitchell Boggs last night. He has great speed. Leads the National League in steals, triples, and infield hits. So you have to be aware of that. So DeRosa, the third baseman, is playing in. He's also the hardest player to double up in the National League. Speed at the top of this lineup with Michael Bourne and Kaz Matsui for Cecil Cooper. Here's a 1-1 pitch. You can see with the third baseman DeRosa having to play in and respect the fact that Bourne has great speed and can bunt, opens up some hitting lanes to the left side. He likes to chop down on the ball and hit it to the opposite way.
That's right. You know,
this time he pulls it on the ground. Schumacher quickly to first, and Albert Pujols.
Speed puts pressure on the defense.
And Carpenter retires the first man. Brings in Matsui. Kaz Matsui hitting .257 with 4 home runs and 25 RBIs. Home plate umpire tonight is Jerry Meals. Bill Hahn over at first, Paul Emmel at second, and Gary Darling, the crew chief, is over at third. He was right in the middle of things late last night with an interference call.
Yeah, a rare time you see an umpire's interference, as he went down to a knee and Rodriguez threw on a wild pitch. Holiday trying to advance, and on the follow through, Rodriguez's thumb hit Darling right in the forehead. My contention was it was, you know, it did not alter the flight. It was after he released it. But you know, every umpire does not want to be part of the action, and so I think Gary Darling just felt like he wasn't going to penalize the Astros. And Arias, the pitcher, the next pitch, wild pitched him to third.
Poetic justice.
Yes.
The strikeout of Matsui. Tag applied by Yadier Molina, 2 outs. So first strikeout for Carpenter are keys to the game. Either one of these guys could be your pitcher of the month in the National League. Wandy Rodriguez and Carpenter, both with 5 starts, both with records of 4-0. Rodriguez .75 ERA, and Carpenter trailed in the strikeouts too, but Rodriguez has been very, very tough.
Yeah, it's hard to ever go against Chris Carpenter, but looking at the pure numbers, Rodriguez has the superior numbers.
Here's Tejada with 2 outs. First pitch hit into shallow right. Can Ludwig get there? That'll drop for a base hit. You can see where Schumacher was going out as well, and it's one of those plays that even if you don't get to the ball, talking about Skip Schumacher, and Ludwig dives for it, It's almost like he's backing it up like a center fielder.
And remember also, you have a good jam shot there, but right now the Sun field is in right field. Played a little conservative. There's what you're talking about Schumacher. If he would have dove for it and the ball gets by him, your second baseman, Skip Schumacher, would have been in the good position to back up the play. But with 2 outs, I think, you feel a little bit that you can play a little bit more conservative. Don't try and make the great play and have it get by you.
Carlos Lee 2 for 5 last night. And a ground ball to Skip. Underhands to Lugo into force play at second base. Cardinals coming up in their half of the first. Showers this afternoon, but a very cool evening here at the ballpark. Julio Lugo, the Cardinal leadoff man, followed by Mark DeRosa and Albert Pujols. Matt Holliday, what a job he's done so far. Ryan Ludwig, Yadier Molina, Skip Schumacher, Colby Rasmus, and Chris Carpenter. Wandy Rodriguez, the lefty, is 10-6 this year. But this is a different lineup that he will face tonight from the one that he saw in Houston. His numbers brought to you by Marshall Wireless.
He's already tied his career high in wins. He's already surpassed his career high in road victories at 5. And he's got a 5-game winning streak on the line.
Lugo, the former Astro, leading it off for the Cardinals and playing shortstop. Brendan Ryan indicated before the game that he would potentially like to play tomorrow afternoon. Tony La Russa, though, had different thoughts. It was a pretty big knot that he had on his ankle from that foul ball against the Dodgers on Thursday night. He missed last night's game. He'll miss tonight. With the off day on Monday, you could get a couple of games off more for him before we start the series with New York on Tuesdays. Lugo strikes out. The strikeout to start the night for Wandy Rodriguez. Lee, Bourne, and Pence in the outfield. Defense presented by Auto Tire. Blum, Tejada, Matsui, and Coast along the infield. Wandy Rodriguez and Humberto Quintero, the battery tonight for the Houston Astros. Here's Mark DeRosa, and he has really added some pop in this lineup for the Cardinals, along with Holliday and Lugo. But the home runs, he's got 7 already wearing a Cardinal uniform. The thing that we've really seen from Mark DeRosa is power to the opposite field.
He's got 7 home runs in his last 11 games.
1-1 pitch by Rodriguez. Curveball taken for a strike. The Cardinals catch a break in this series. They get Rodriguez tonight, but it does not look like Roy Oswalt would make that start tomorrow, and the Cardinals have Adam Wainwright going. Oswalt left his last start with a back issue at Wrigley Field in Chicago. 2-2 the count. We've seen that DeRosa has been moving all over the lineup for Tony La Russa, too.
Yeah, it seemed like he kind of likes the 7th spot more so than number 2, but a lefty on the mound. Tony chooses the 2nd hole for him. He's got those 7 home runs, and since July 20th, DeRosa has hit exactly half of the team's 14 home runs.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. DeRosa hits it on the ground to short. Miguel Tejada up with it. Throws to Coast for the 2nd out. So there's 2 outs, and it brings in Albert Pujols. The way that Holiday has been hitting, what's been interesting here is that the Cardinals are winning games here at home. Holiday is smoking the ball, but it's been unlike Pujols here the last 10 days or so. He really hasn't taken advantage of that hot hitting of Holiday.
And I'm sure he will. I'm not sure if there's some elbow issues or something going on, but he will eventually just become Albert once again. And that's when you see this lineup just really be something.
And here's an 0-1 pitch with 2 outs. This is on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And very few players do you ever recommend try to do too much. Albert can handle that, and now that he's got Holiday, they can handle it. So everyone else can really settle in and just relax.
This is amazing. In the first 13 plate appearances that Holiday had after Pujols reached base, Holiday reached base on 12 of those. That's unbelievable.
It's almost a minimum of these games that he's been playing. He gets on base at least twice.
Pujols, right center field. Thorne back in front of the track, now on the track to make the catch. Cardinals go in order. Jeff Blum leads it off when we come back. Limited edition Cardinals Pup. Still tickets available, 345-9500, or visit us online at stocardinals.com. After the game, kids can run the bases. It's also a family Sunday. You have heard us talk about these. A family Sunday, you get a terrace or pavilion reserved seat. And with that purchase, you get a free hot dog and soda. And tomorrow's also an ice cream sundae. So you can make a long day of it here in downtown St. Louis. Get here early for the Pup, the ice cream, and Cardinals baseball. Blum, Pence, and Coast for the Astros. That Holiday was left on deck after a long fly ball off the bat of Albert Pujols. That's pulled just foul. Looked to be a hanging breaking ball, and Blum just pulled it foul.
Time early in the count, you'll kind of lollipop a breaking ball up there. And then Carpenter's got a devastating one that puts you away. He's got so many weapons and leaves very few balls in the middle of the plate.
Here's a 1-2. Jeff Blum has 3 walk-off hits this year for the Astros, which matches the franchise record set by Morgan Ensberg. Whatever happened to Morgan Ensberg?
Boy, he went south in a hurry, didn't he?
He sure did.
30+ home runs and being, productive middle of the order hitter to really struggling.
And Blum has arrived his second tour of duty now with Houston, and at third base he's been very good defensively too.
He's been exceptional. He's only committed 2 errors on the season, and the versatility for Cecil Cooper is what he likes.
Pujols has it on a hop, and he'll step on the bag for the first out. First man retired here in the top of the second, and it brings in Hunter Pence.
Hard hit, but the Gold Glove winner out there got off to a slow start defensively, but Albert now is playing that outstanding defense.
Looking at the crowd right now and still filing in. Remember, the start time switched to 6:15 here tonight. Looks like we've got another sellout, and there's a good chance that tomorrow could be sold out as well, which would mean that every game on the homestand sold out. 4 with the Dodgers and 3 here with Houston.
But tickets do remain for tomorrow, right?
There are tickets still remaining for tomorrow, yes. MLB.tv to watch baseball on your computer. Find out more at STLCardinals.com. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out and nobody on Hunter Pence. Was here for the All-Star game but never got in the game.
Hunter had a career high 3 walks last night. He's always been a very good hitter, better than .330 average against St. Louis with 6 home runs and 23 RBIs.
And remember, last time that we saw Carpenter against Pence, it was breaking balls, and this time it's a fastball that's fouled. He really carved him up. He had 3 strikeouts last time against Pence, and everything seemed to be on the middle outer half and then break down.
Wouldn't surprise me if he kind of the first time through the order this time that he establishing more fastballs, and then he'll save that breaking ball for later.
A 2-2 pitch to Pence on the outside corner, but doesn't get the call. Carpenter has struck out 1 tonight. That was Matsui, the second batter that he saw.
Carpenter has only walked 18 on the season, and he wanted that 2-2 pitch. Going to repeat it, the fastball away.
Pence, a swing and a miss. Strikeout number 2.
Well, last week you talked about all the breaking balls that he got Pence, and just looked very awkward. Well, tonight you start him out on fastball because he keeps on thinking you're going to get the breaking ball, and then you'll probably switch off next time up or later on when you need that breaking ball again. You'll go with the breaking ball if it's in a game deciding situation.
Chris Coast. That just gives you an idea, though, that he feels so confident, meaning Carpenter, that at any point in time he can throw all the different pitches.
Yeah, he knows that every pitch he has is a quality pitch.
A grounder to DeRosa, gloves and throws. Matt Holliday due up first. He has made quite an impression so far. Casino. Watch player interviews and Tony La Russa. Plus Pat Paris and Ricky Horton break down the game. U.S. Cellular Cardinals live after the game right here on your home of the Cardinals, Fox Sports Midwest. Dan McLaughlin, Al Hrabosky with you. Matt Holliday finishing up a 2-year, $23 million contract that the Rockies gave him back in 2008. A free agent to be. Let's hope he decides that St. Louis is the right place for him. Holliday down the right field line. Pence is back, and this one is gone. This guy is unbelievable. A new month, same old Matt Holliday. Second home run as a Cardinal. 1-0 St. Louis.
Played 9 games as a Cardinal. He's got a 9-game hitting streak, 18 hits during that time, 9 RBIs, 2 home runs, and 6 doubles. He was the first guy to have 17 hits in his first 8 games since Bo Hart had 18. And he's going to get another curtain call if he wants it.
Unbelievable. I love the numbers he's putting up, but I wonder how high his numbers are going up.
Well, if you remember, the Rockies offered him a 4-year, $72 million contract that he turned down. And that's when they decided to trade him to Oakland. Now, that was before this economic crisis, which I know Scott Boras has never heard of.
Good luck, Mo. Great trade, now keep him.
Well, and the Cardinals are going to make every effort to do so. I'll tell you one thing. Cardinals are the only one that can negotiate with him right now and for an extended period after the season. But there you see it, fastball down there and drives it to the opposite field.
360 feet off the bat of Holliday.
Who cares how far, as long as it goes over the fence?
You got it. 3-time All-Star. He's won a Silver Slugger. He's a runner-up in the MVP of the balloting of 2007.
And he's a really good guy. I mean, he's fit in so well, so quickly with his teammates. But you know, this guy's a real professional. Got that high leg kick, and I said earlier in the season he wasn't doing that. And once he started doing it, he started tearing up the baseball again.
Well, with the trades that have been made by John Mozeliak, the thing that stands out to me, Al, is that the Cardinals have an ability to score in every inning. You know, it used to be you got through Pujols and Ludwig, times Molina, and it just seemed like, well, you had to wait a while to get back to that point. And now you have the ability to score more runs. That's well hit. Horn is back. He won't get it. Gets off the wall. Yadier Molina, the first-time All-Star, is at second base with a one-out double. And this is what I mean with this lineup now. The bottom half becomes a lot more unforgiving.
There's another pitch in the middle of the plate, and it's down a little bit, but he drives it out to left center, and you can just see Molina, who caught all 15 innings the other night, and then the next day caught 10 innings. Got the day off yesterday, and that battery's a little recharged. And
you also saw prior to the trades where this club was so vulnerable to left-handed pitching. Now you have more balance with the righties.
Early in the season, and they had a very good April, the Cardinals really handled left-handed pitching. But then when you got into May and June, they started struggling again. And now you feel like you got a fighting chance.
There's Schumacher, who has been dropped down to the 7th spot in the lineup. So back-to-back lefties for Rodriguez to try to get out of the inning. And Skip slices one to left. Lee is over to make the catch. Schumacher retired. And Tony La Russa, I'm sure we talk about the crowd and the lineup. How about Tony? He's got to feel rejuvenated with this lineup and what he puts out there every day.
Well, I think the simple thing to explain that is he was batting the pitcher 8th when he felt like his team was going to have a tough time scoring runs. Ever since you got Lugo and Holliday to add to DeRosa, he started pitching batting the pitcher in the 9th, the traditional spot, the 9th spot.
Colby Rasmus, the 8th place hitter in center field tonight. Rick Ankiel will come off the bench, and Rick had a big base hit last night to win the game for St. Louis. And to me, also a byproduct of the trades. We've seen Ankiel make adjustments, be more selective as he has dropped down in the lineup. It seems like he's maybe shortened his swing a little bit too. There's a fly ball, but a long way to go for Lee near the line, and makes the catch in foul territory. Nice play by Carlos Lee. Matt Holliday, his second Cardinal home run, second on the homestand, and now with 9 RBIs wearing the birds on the bat. Opposite field home run for the big slugger. 1-0 Cardinals. Hotel and Casino, home of the loosest slots. And the first pitch is a strike underway here in the third to Quintero. Quintero, then the pitcher Rodriguez and Bourne. 1-0 Cardinals. Matt Holliday, his second Redbird home run. Lifted into right center. Colby won't get it. Scoots by him. Backing up Ludwig, throwing to second base, and that's offline just a bit. Hustling all the way, Quintero. That's a base hit and then an error on the center fielder, Colby Rasmus.
It's Colby's 5th error and the team's 72nd. Got a little too close to it. You saw Ludwig backing up with a good throw. Is a little bit to the infield or the first base side with a good throw. They have Quintero, the catcher, running and throw him out at second, but a little offline. And he gets himself in the scoring position.
So now Rodriguez can sacrifice. He's an 0-51 hitter.
And I was about to say, in the Houston series and then last night, we kept on seeing when the Cardinals scored that Houston came back and answered. But usually with Carpenter on the mound, you know he knows how to take care of business. When his team gives him a lead, he knows how to shut down the opposition. But we'll see if he can pitch around the error now.
And a 1-0 pitch to Wandy Rodriguez. Bunting, swinging the bat, not the strong suit of Wandy Rodriguez. He does have 5 sacrifices this year.
2 for 39 on the season. 0-51.
We've seen the Cardinals in spots like these, in particular with Molina and Pujols, be so aggressive in trying to get that lead runner. Albert will charge and throw off balance. A lot of times Molina will pounce on it, take the chance to get him at third, and DeRosa has to read the play to get back to the bag.
You want to bunt it hard enough to get it by the pitcher and make the third baseman come in and field the ball, vacating the third base bag.
The Cardinals felt they needed to address their offense. They did that with the big trades to get DeRosa and Holliday. As long as Carpenter stays healthy in the top of the rotation, you have to like their pitching too, especially the way that Piñeiro's come on.
Right. See how Albert, very aggressive, charging.
And it's bunted past Carpenter. And that's a base hit for Rodriguez.
See, that's, in my mind, that's Carpenter's ball. He's got to take the third base side. And Albert, so aggressive, will take everything on the first base side and the mound. DeRosa's going back there because he's thinking that that ball is going to be fielded by his pitcher, and he's doing the right thing. Third baseman is going to go back here. Now the bunch, you want to bunt it hard enough to get by the pitcher, but watch it. Carpenter doesn't field his position. He's got to cover the third base side. Albert's covering first base and everything in front of the plate and in front of the mound. That's Carpenter's ball.
Runners at first and third for Michael Bourne. And Bourne hits it to Albert. He'll come home, and now they got him in a rundown. Quintero's in a rundown. Pujols cuts off Carpenter, and quickly back to the bag at third. They finally get it done. How about Albert taking charge there and stepping in front of Carpenter in the hot box?
Well, he's doing what he's supposed to do. That was not a good rundown play. They got their man, but it was done with far too many throws. But here, you know, you get swinging bunt, comes over here. Albert hits here. Molina makes the first mistake by not running back, closing the gap, close the gap more. And then Albert does what he has to. You don't want the pitcher involved if you can help it. So Albert comes in front of Carpenter. Carpenter can back up Albert. And then Albert did running back all the way to where he commits. He's closed the gap, and then he can get the ball to DeRosa to tag him out.
Fielder's choice, 3-2-5-3-6. Matsui struck out first time up. Runners at first and second. That pitch is in there for a strike. Chris Carpenter, one of the great competitors in Major League Baseball. 34-year-old that graduated from Trinity High School in Manchester, New Hampshire. And Carp was All-State 3 years in baseball, All-State 3 years in hockey. I know you like your football players, Al, but hockey players are pretty darn tough too.
Yeah, I might put the hockey into that category.
2006. Carpenter won the Darrell Kyle Award, which is voted on by his teammates. If you're wondering, it was Adam Wainwright who won it last year. Gets him to hit a fly ball out in front. Rasmus coming on to make the catch.
A little exciting there with a little late break by Rasmus.
Ticket Fest is back at McDonald's. The Cardinals Ticket Fest promotion is offering fans great ticket deals when you purchase one of 4 extra value meals at your St. Louis Metro East McDonald's. Stop by a participating McDonald's today. If Houston doesn't score, they can look back at this inning as being a huge disappointment to have runners at the corners and nobody out. You don't get many chances like this against Carpenter.
You don't. And, you know, you just really look at Carpenter, and he's a guy that knows how to pitch around his mistake or teammates' mistakes.
Last night, Houston had left 8 on through 6, and they had their opportunities against Mitchell Boggs. Twice they had the bases loaded and didn't score.
Very similar to some recent starts by Wainwright and Carpenter, where teams would get guys on base, but they just couldn't break innings open.
Tejada with a base hit first time. This guy's really had some big at-bats against the Cardinals. He is a free agent to be, Miguel Tejada.
This year with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, almost batting .350. .240 average against Carpenter in his career.
Had his 15th multi-RBI game of the season last night to lead their club. And he leads the National League in multi-hit games with 43. Also leads the National League in doubles and overall in hits with 135. So solid year here for Tejada. First and second, 2 outs and a 2-1 pitch. So much fun to watch this guy compete.
Well, that's it. I mean, you can watch him and you can learn a lot about how to compete, how to act when you got guys on base. And, you know, he is a warrior out there. They all know that, when Carpenter's day, you keep a distance from him, but you also know you got a chance you're going to win. High percentage.
Uh-oh, that could be trouble down the left field line. It is hooking and foul. When Carpenter is right, the breaking ball is very, very sharp, and he doesn't hang many. Two and two, the count on the shortstop for Houston, Miguel Tejada. Cardinals will have Carpenter due up first, then Lugo and DeRosa at the bottom of the third. Just got a piece.
Reach. Carpenter going to run fastball in on his hands. He can throw that cutter down and away, throw the curveball. It's 12-6. And has great location with it.
Keep an eye on the Cubs score as they lead now 6-0 in the top of the second inning. 2-2. Ground ball to Albert. He'll take it himself. And Carpenter gets out of the jam. Astros strand two. And Chris will lead it off when we come back. Chris Carpenter and Mark DeRosa talking about that bunt play in between innings just moments ago. I wonder if Carpenter's saying I should have had it, or exactly what the play was called from the bench.
Well, looking at the defense and everything, I think Carpenter's explaining that he didn't get the job done, but he did ultimately get the job done on the mound because he kept them from scoring. But the ball bunt close enough to the pitcher. Albert has everything down the first base line and in front of the pitcher's mound. Pitcher only responsible for the third base side, and that ball bunting hard enough and far enough. Pitcher fields it. DeRosa's got to get back to third base to receive the throw because the defense was set up to get the lead runner.
And as we talked about, the Cardinals have been so aggressive over the years, especially when Albert arrived on the scene at first base of trying to get that lead runner too.
And that's why I say the bunt has to go down the third base line hard enough to get by the pitcher. You want the third baseman to come in, but that ball wasn't down the third base line. It was pretty much 2 steps off the mound for the pitcher to field it. If you bunt it to the first base side, Albert being so aggressive, he gets that ball easy and throws you out at third.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Carpenter. And a swing and a miss. Congratulations to Murray State's record-setting quarterback from St. Louis, Jeff Earhart, who got engaged today to Erica Frenchler. So congratulations to Jeff Earhart at the ballpark tonight.
We have engagements or wedding anniversaries. Ronald and Anna Stage of Poplar Bluff, anniversary of 45 years. They've been to Sportsman's Park, Busch Stadium 2, and now the new one.
So Carpenter strikes out. Here's Julio Lugo. He struck out first time up. The 0-1 pitch, a breaking ball over Rodriguez. Tough play. Matsui bare hands to first. A tremendous play by the second baseman Kaz Matsui. Remember, he came up with the Mets. I should say signed with the Mets, as he was over in Japan and was an all-star and a gold glover, and he was a shortstop that actually moved Jose Reyes to second base, but then they figured out that Reyes was a much better shortstop than Matsui. Hot Shots Exmo Cam, Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill, 1 block south of the ballpark on Broadway.
And Matsui made 2 errors on Thursday, and that snapped a 45-game errorless streak. So only committed 4 on the season, and he had 2 on Thursday.
Here's DeRosa. Pulls it foul. Mark tonight. Grounded out to short. First time up.
And when you talk about Holiday and DeRosa, not only are you getting outstanding ball players, but you're getting guys that are really character people that fit well in that clubhouse. Very quickly will come leaders.
Celebration of a Cardinals All-Star summer. Coca-Cola recognizes past and present Cardinals. The All-Stars who participated in the Midsummer Classic. A collectible is coming up Friday, August 14th, when San Diego is in St. Louis. And the Cardinals go quietly here in their half of the third. We play 3 at Busch Stadium. St. Louis 1-0. Log on to foxsports.com on MSN and join the next generation of fantasy football. Carlos Lee leads it off. Lee, Blum, and Pence 4, 5, and 6 in this lineup. 1-0 Cardinals here in the top of the 4th. Lee hits it in the air down the right field line. That'll get out of play and foul. Cardinals, if you missed it on the pregame show, they have made a move as Mitchell Boggs was sent down after his start last night, which lasted 5 innings. Khalil Green once again has been activated, and Jim Hayes will join us here momentarily after this pitch to talk about it. Here's a 1-1, and Lee smokes it out to left field. Holiday back, and we are tied. Home run for Lee. A solo shot And for Carlos Lee, he now has 18 home runs and 64 driven in.
299th of his career. And you get one more to be the first Panamanian player to have 300.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, he's just loaded up on the backside. He knew it. Must have had another yogurt today.
As he was warming up before the game last night, if you want to call it that, he was eating yogurt.
Well, his teammates were stretching and he was eating yogurt.
We caught him. Here's Blum, who grounded out to first time up. Jim Hayes, let's talk to you. As the Cardinals have made a move prior to the game, and Khalil Green has been activated, but it'll be a role that will be coming off the bench, isn't it?
Yeah, Khalil was actually here yesterday, officially activated today. The Cardinals are very optimistic about Khalil. He had good numbers while rehabbing in Memphis, hit .345, had 4 home runs, and they feel like perhaps some of the anxiety issues he had been dealing with are under control right now.
And he'll play a little bit of third, a little bit of short. Is that correct?
Yeah, off the bench. And Tony La Russa said he doesn't want to exactly map out the role for Khalil, but they'll kind of ramp him in, let him come off the bench, and take it from there. You got to feel, though, Dan, with the upgrade in the roster, there's a lot more depth now, and I think the pressure has been taken off a lot of players, and maybe some of the pressure taken off a guy like Khalil, just a guy who'll be asked to contribute now and then off the bench, you know, until Tony finds some other way to use him.
Here's a 2-2 pitch and a ground ball to Pujols. He'll take it himself and step on the bag. You also had the chance to visit with Cardinals GM John Mozeliak, and one of the subjects was Troy Glaus. Where does that stand right now?
Right now, it's still up in the air. They're going to wait for more information from the medical staff. But, you know, Troy had stopped his rehab because of back spasms. He was around the club yesterday. I didn't see him today, but still waiting for some sort of medical guidance as to the next step for Troy.
I know the big question for fans around the Cardinal fan base is whether or not they can re-sign Matt Holliday. When do you anticipate in your conversations with John that they would approach Matt Holliday and say, okay, what are you looking for, and this is where we're at?
John Mozeliak does not want to show his hand in any way in terms of how and when those negotiations start, if they haven't already started. But he does say he will do everything humanly possible to not only sign Holliday but also DeRosa.
And let's just say this, that those things don't need to be public every single day. You know, the best thing that could happen was all of a sudden one day we get a press conference that he signs.
Here's Lugo to his left.
Al, you're exactly right about that. You know, sometimes when things get out in the media, they can hinder the process as opposed to help. And, you know, you look back at some of the deals and some of the contracts the Cardinals have worked out over the years. Sometimes when things are done in a stealth way, they work out better for the Cardinals.
And that's what happened, remember, with Edmonds and McGuire.
Sure.
All of a sudden, you come to the ballpark, you find out you've got these guys locked up long term.
Yeah, you don't need to be discussing, you know, his future every single day. I mean, let's let him just sit there and soak in this environment, and I'm sure Cardinal baseball, the tradition, the environment will sell itself.
Well, and you guys know, too, that, you know, when you're talking about John Mozeliak and Cardinal ownership, they're smart enough to look ahead to the next step. They're not, obviously they want to, you know, build this team up for the stretch run, but they're looking at the next step too and weighing the options, and I'm sure they feel like they have a chance to bring these guys back.
My understanding was, and it was with McGuire when Walt was here and John and with Jim Edmonds, that they wanted to get these guys in this environment, have them experience St. Louis and what it's like to play here, from a media exposure or lack of pressure from some of the media, and also the great fan base. But take it in, enjoy it, and then once you experience it, then we'll talk about a contract. So we'll see what happens now the next couple of weeks. We're back with more baseball in just a moment as Pujols will lead it off. streak in Major League Baseball history. It would end, by the way, 1,152. Those were nasty looking jerseys back in the day. Nasty.
The rainbows.
Here's Albert Pujols. Last year against left-handed pitching, Pujols hit .411 with 11 home runs.
And I'm not sure what it is to date, but I think we recently showed it was like about 280 this year. A little bit surprising.
The month of August was one of his best a season ago as he won the MVP. He hit .398. 8 homers, 22 RBIs. Pujols hits it sharply to Tejada. He bobbled under his legs and under the glove. And an error on Miguel Tejada. A hot shot by Albert.
He scored that a base hit?
E6.
Okay, thank you. I thought my hearing had gone bad, but
E6.
I was going to say that can't be.
That would be the most generous scoring in the history of baseball.
You know, Tejada, that's his 13th error, but he made 9 in the first 45 games. So I've been playing very solid defense, but that one has to be made.
Now it's Holliday. Homered to the opposite field, first time up. We told you earlier when Albert reaches base, since Matt Holliday has arrived in St. Louis, only one other time right after that Holliday did not. Now that truly is a 1-2 punch. It's something that Tony La Russa has been looking for. 2 balls and no strikes, and Ludwig on deck. Both home runs from Matt Holliday have been hit to the opposite field. As he picks up that front leg and takes a vicious cut. Holds nothing back. The 2-0. Base hit again for Matt Holliday. He was ready for the changeup. Is this fun or what?
Well, you know, every day it's at least a hit, and usually it's a multi-hit game. Every game he's been on base at least twice in his 9 games. Puts that foot up, puts it right back down. And he's already in 8 games has had 2 4-hit games. Last Friday and again last night, and he's well on his way this
now,
today.
Right there on the Exmo Cam presented by Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill, you had a chance to see that front leg picked up, and you would think by him doing it, as Tejada bobbles again but gets a forced play at third, by him doing that, sometimes you would think he would be vulnerable maybe to the changeup, because he dropped that front foot down, weight transfer, he's on his front foot.
Timing mechanism, but you know, it's when you get it back down, you got to get it back down quick enough.
Here's Molina, who doubled his first time up.
I still think it'd be fun to look at 3 still shots or action shots of, say, the wide stance of Edmonds, Albert Pujols, how he just almost pivots on his toe and puts his foot right back down, and then Holliday with the high leg kick, but he puts his foot right back down in the same spot too. 3 great hitters, 3 different, you know, approaches to the hitting zone.
Jose Oquendo would be the first one to tell you there is no right or wrong way. Just get a comfort level. Remember his stance and how he would approach hitting. Great utility man of the Cardinals for 10 years here in St. Louis.
And Dan, I know you played enough golf with Hosey. Every time I see Hosey, and he's an excellent scratch golfer, he has the same approach to hitting a golf ball as this batting stance he had. You know, kind of everything scrunched down, and his weight on his back half as he approaches a tee shot.
I'm not going to argue with it.
His results are phenomenal.
It's unbelievable. 2-0 pitch to Molina, catches the corner. This is the 10th season as the Cardinals' third base coach for Jose Oquendo, who was voted as the top utility man on the all Busch Stadium team, Busch Stadium 2.
And I will say this, he's been the best third base coach Cardinals have had in many years.
Holliday overall has raised his average to .313, and he came into play hitting with the Cardinals at .586, and tonight he's 2 for 2.
And that's hard to do in only 9 games. And if you go back to his last 19 games, He's 35 for 72, 12 doubles, 5 home runs, 20 RBIs, and 19 runs scored in his last 18 games.
2-2. And Jose Oquendo, in talking about him once again, is very, very close to Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols, 2 key members of this team. And those 3 are always together talking about the game of baseball and situations. In many ways, Jose can be a conduit between certain players, you know, to get to Molina and Pujols and bridge the gap, so to speak.
Well, Tony's coaching staff in general, they're all an extension of his authority. And that's very important. He delegates responsibility well, but everybody, if any of these coaches say something to a player, they know it's coming from Tony.
And with Jose Oquendo, he has managed in the World Baseball Classic, Team Puerto Rico in 06 and 09. With all the Latin players that are in the major leagues, you get the feeling he would be a great candidate to be a manager somewhere.
Well, and I thought it was a great tribute to him that he managed the world team in the Futures games this year.
Molina swing and a miss, and strikeout number 4 for Wandy Rodriguez, and it brings in Skip Schumacher. Skip Schumacher, we've talked about this, works out with Mark McGwire in the offseason, along with the Duncan brothers and a guy named Matt Holliday. I don't think that carried some weight with Tony La Russa.
Oh, no, and Big Mac was one of the first to tell Tony about Holliday, and that's when Tony started saying, I want him last fall.
Tejada flips to second, and Matsui, a great play to hold on for the force. A shaky inning defensively for Miguel Tejada, but Matsui bails him out. Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill brings us our Exmo Cam. Good play here by Matsui.
And he's running to the bag. Now the throw is behind him, so you got it barehanded. Find the bag and hold on to it as your momentum is carrying you off the bag.
Here's Quintero, 8-9-1 for Carpenter, and that's a fair ball, just inside the line. Ludwig over to get it. Quintero will stop at first base. Leadoff single.
Albert off the line, had no chance on that ball that just squirts on by. Quintero's been involved in a couple interesting plays now, and Wandy will come up in a bunting situation again.
So DeRosa will play in on the grass. They'll hold at first. Cardinals once again always aggressive in these spots. Joe Patini, the Cardinals defensive coach in many ways, along with Jose Oquendo. He'll tell them, be aggressive like this. Barehanded by Albert, out there on the first, safe. Almost an unbelievable double play.
Great throw by Albert Pujols. You talked earlier about how aggressive he is on bunt situations. Remember, even with that little bulky elbow, he still has a tremendous throwing arm. And he gets to this, he barehands it, spins and throws, perfect strike. And then Lugo had to wait a split second to get his legs out of the way of the sliding Quintero before he can make the return throw to Schumacher. And just that little difference got Wandy across the first base bag.
I've asked Jose Oquendo about Molina and Pujols defensively and what makes them so good. He says they never, ever worry about making an error. And it doesn't matter if it's the ninth inning in the playoffs or in the middle of the season. They are fearless in that regard.
You know, Dan, when you're about to make that statement, I'm trying to guess along what would it be, and that was what I was going to come up with. They're not afraid to make a mistake.
It's unbelievable.
And that's how you got to play this game. If you're going to be afraid to make a mistake, and now they're going to come out and check on Rodriguez as he's kind of stretching out where they're grabbing his hamstring.
Yeah.
As he might have.
Back of his right leg he was pointing to.
Yeah, you know, he might have jumped for that bag or something as he's trying to beat out that throw. And that's the last thing Cecil Cooper wants. Lose another starting pitcher.
Could ill afford to lose another starter. I wonder if Rodriguez, as he left the box, is thinking there's no way that Albert's going to try to go to second. And when he realizes it, then he's got to say, uh-oh, I better run right there.
Yeah, you see him right there and trying to run hard, and then he kind of grabs the back of his leg as it kind of feels grab. He says he's okay, but he'll keep an eye on that, and he'll try and keep on stretching out.
Go back, though, to Al on the defense and just being fearless, not worrying about making mistakes.
That's how you have to play the game. If you play this game at this level, afraid that you're going to make a mistake, you will make mistakes. If you go out there and confident in your ability, and a lot of it is just, you know, anticipation. You know, the ball comes to me. What am I going to do? Not like Pedro Guerrero when he was playing third base for the Dodgers. Remember what he told Lasorda?
It's a broken bat. Lugo steps on the bag and no play at first.
Tommy asked Pedro Guerrero, who was not a good third baseman, and he'd admit to that. You know, what do you think about before a ball's hit you? He goes, I don't want it to hit to me. And
That's the last thing you got to say.
Exactly. He said, what else do you think about it as you watch Carpenter get out of the way of the barrel of the bat? And with Bourne's speed, the only play he has is Lugo can get the force out, but don't waste a throw. And the only other thing he said back then was, well, what else do you think about it? He says, well, I don't want the ball hit to Steve Sachs either. That's when Sachs had the problem with throwing.
I still always remember with the Jack Clark home run, Jack Buck's call, and Pedro Guerrero in left field slamming his glove down like he was in the 5th grade. I mean, it is hysterical.
It's a kid's game played by adults.
2 outs and a runner at first, and here's Matsui. Matsui tonight. Second baseman is struck out, flied out to center. Carpenter at 62 pitches.
I haven't seen Pedro for a few years. The last time I saw him was maybe, well, probably close to 10 years ago when he was down in Miami playing in a golf tournament.
How about Brendan Ryan? He said that that's one of his favorite Dodgers growing up. Pedro Guerrero.
Oh, he was. I'm sure there's a lot of kids grew up emulating him because, you know, he had a great career. Chip off.
Carpenter to second. Out. And Bourne throws his helmet. He's ejected. Looked to be safe to the naked eye. I'm sure we'll see it on the replay, but Bourne grabs his helmet, throws it off, and he quickly is ejected from this game. Cardinals catch a break. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Well, Michael Bourne clearly was safe at second base, called out, and then ejected from the ball game tonight. So Jason Michaels has to take over in center field, and Cecil Cooper is not going to risk anything with his pitcher. He's going to make a change here with Rodriguez after he grabbed his hamstring running down the first base line, and he brings in a righty to throw. So bad news, obviously, right now for Houston. Cecil Cooper wants an explanation as well.
Well, Fulcino is going to come out and throw in, and he's the new pitcher. And I think what's happening right now is the umpires are sitting there going, hey, wait a minute. You didn't have this pitcher out there in proper time. Now, I thought maybe Wandy was going back out there. They were taping it up or something, but they've gone to the bullpen, and Gary Darling, the crew chief, is conferring with Jerry Meals as we'll have our Chevy call to the bullpen.
So it's a Chevy call to the bullpen. Fulcino, the right-hander, will take him some time to get loose. Part of a double switch, and will step aside. Against the Stros, 8 shutout innings last Tuesday against LA, allowing 8 hits, walked 1, fanned 5 in that 10-0 win. Astros and Cardinals, Ricky Horton and Jay Randolph will have the call for you tomorrow at 12:30 on KSDK. Well, last year, Albert Pujols started 140 games. You would think that might be the most starts of anybody. That's not the case for Tony La Russa's club. It was Troy Gloss who's had us 144 starts last year. And Jim, just to finish up our conversation, you had the chance to visit with John Mozeliak on the pregame show. What are they going to do with Troy Gloss?
Well, they got to wait and see where he is medically, Dan. That's what John Mozeliak said. They don't have all the answers. It was a back spasm situation when Troy was rehabbing in Memphis. They believe offensively he can't contribute, though. As you guys know, he's having trouble throwing, meaning that third base would be a problem. And they got a guy who's playing pretty well at third base there right now in Mark DeRosa.
Yes, they do.
And the left field experiment is over with the acquisition of Holiday. So it's really hard to conceive how Troy Gloss could be helpful until September with expanded rosters.
But at that point now, I mean, as you expand rosters, and if he's here and you're going to pay him all that money, if he's healthy enough to give you a little pop from that side of the plate as a pinch hitter, why not?
You got to pay him either way.
Exactly. So you might as well use him in that role.
So, I mean, if in the meantime there's an American League club or some club would like his services, I don't think they would necessarily block that, but I think he would like to stay.
Rasmus to deep left field. Catch made by Lee. So a lot of activity. Thanks, Jim. And the top of the fifth is Michael Bourne ejected in this game after arguing whether or not he was out or safe, and the replay shows he was safe as he was picked off at first. throws the helmet, and that's when he was ejected. Now, last night, watch this. He threw his helmet and his bat, and I thought he might be ejected with this. Whoop. Then the helmet would go as well. A lot of times, umpires, even if you don't say a word, but you do something like that, they figure, hey, you're showing me up. See you later.
Right. You are subject to a fine by doing that, by throwing the bat or your equipment. And sometimes a guy that's like Jerry Meals, who was at first base, he sees that and takes note.
And you'd have to say that the Cardinals catch a break now with Rodriguez out of the game. Fulchino is in. 29-year-old that was claimed off of waivers from Kansas City back in 2008. Began his college career at the University of Connecticut back in 1999. Stop by the Westin and enter to win your chance to catch pop flies and win great prizes. For complete details, visit www.westinpopupchallenge.com or call 314-621-2000. The Westin has done a wonderful job with all the fans that come through town and enjoy Cardinal baseball. Fulchino gets the strikeout, his first of the night, as Rodriguez strikes out 4 in his 4 innings of work. And if you're just joining us, he left the game. It looked like he hurt his hamstring, right leg, trying to avoid a double play when he was running down the line.
And Oswald not able to make the start tomorrow with lower back strain, and right-hander Bud Norris will be making his first major league start tomorrow afternoon.
0-1 pitch to Lugo, a strike. Julio Lugo at the top spot of the lineup. Struck out in the first and grounded out to second back in the third. Mark DeRosa on deck. And here we go, another tight ball game here tonight. 1-1. Had a bunch of these lately. Lugo just got a piece.
Hadn't been that long in the last couple of years. You know, you get in these tight games and the Cardinals had no chance.
We showed a real telling graphic, though, the ball game last night since July 24th and 6th inning or later, how the Cardinals, you know, pick up a lot of runs.
Yeah, and the reason I say they had no chance because they didn't have the pitching staff that could contain the other team's offense. But this staff leads the National League in innings pitched and wins.
And the lineup now, with the way that it's constructed, you really grind through that pitcher, and all of a sudden you get into those bullpens before a closer, and that's when the Cardinals have done a lot of damage. And there you see it, 6th inning or later since July 24th, 31 runs scored.
Every team's Achilles heel in their pitching staff is middle relief.
And every GM will tell you it's what they need, arguably at times the most, and it's the hardest thing to find.
Yeah, you may have problems or not an ideal situation with your 4th or 5th starter, but if you can knock out the starter, you can get into somebody's bullpen before the 5th inning. You know, you are well on your way to usually a victory.
2-2. Lugo up the middle. Tejada to his left. Spins, throws, and safe at first. Base hit for Julio Lugo.
Nice play by Tejada there. As he gets that ball, his momentum carries him the outfield grass, spins and throws, and had something on it, and I thought he threw him out.
Very close. So base hit for Lugo, extends the inning to DeRosa, and Albert is on deck. Two outs and a runner at first, and Lugo has got some speed over there.
And we talked so much about the new guys, Lugo, DeRosa, and Holiday. They have combined for a 340 plus average, 9 doubles, 3 triples, 10 home runs, 23 RBIs, and 25 runs scored. That's
making an impact.
That's a joke. You know.
See Lugo when he's diving back to the outside portion of the bag and just got the hand in there. As recently as 07, Julio Lugo had 33 steals. Mentioned that I talked to Tim McCarver a couple of days ago, and he said he thought the Lugo addition is not quite as important, but a real important addition for the Cardinals. He felt that Boston gave up on him maybe a little bit too early.
Just wasn't a good fit there. He had some injury issues with him, got off to the slow start, but still has the remaining portion of this year's contract and next year's contract, with Boston paying all $13 million he's owed over the next year and a half.
Tony La Russa, his contract is up after this year, but the Cardinals have made additions that he was looking for. And he always tells you that he will decide at the end of the season, if they want me back, I might be back. But they have to want me back too. It's got to be the right fit.
It doesn't really matter if he's on the final year or the first year of a multi-year contract. His statement is that you may want me in April, but we'll see if you want me in October. And do my core players want me to come back? You know, he wants to continue managing, and he has a chance to become second on the all-time win list.
There's a base hit into right field. And how about this? An infield hit, and now Lugo advances from second to third on a misplay by Pence, so an error after the base hit extends the inning to Albert Pujols.
Third error by Pence gets underneath his glove, and that allows Lugo to go to third base. So the runner's at the corners with 2 outs, and Albert Pujols coming up. Pick your poison. You want Albert, or you want the on-deck hitter that is hot as can be?
Big Cardinal fan. Have a note here from Dan Fitzgibbons. He's watching tonight in Milwaukee, and he says his favorite player is Albert Pujols. Well, Albert might give Mr. Fitzgibbons a present right here. 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Pujols 4 for 20. Two errors charged against Houston tonight. 2 outs, runners at the corners, and Albert takes a ball low and away.
You know, we always talk about these guys need to pick up the third base coach, but there are times too when you can do it yourself. You look out there, and that additional look where he sees the ball get underneath the glove, you wouldn't have had time to look at your third base coach and then react. So there are times where, you know, it is helpful to just keep on looking until the play is final.
1-0 pitch to Albert. It is a strike. And as we mentioned that Houston has committed 2 errors. The Cardinals have committed an error tonight as Albert reached on an error back in the 4th by Tejada on a ball that went through his legs and under his glove.
It's a great example of why you cannot give good teams extra outs. You allow Albert to come up with 2 men on. You're just asking for trouble, even with 2 outs.
You talk about a baseball, the game of inches, and Lugo safe by an inch or 2 to extend the inning to DeRosa. Now to Albert. Pujols out in front, chops it left side. Blum across the diamond. Cardinals strand 2, and we have played 5 at Busch Stadium. Houston 1, St. Louis 1. And better set your alarms. Sausage burritos are just $1.19 only at McDonald's. 1-1 game, top of the 6th here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The Cubs leading their game in the bottom of the 4th against the Marlins on the road 6-2. And Milwaukee will play later tonight. DeRosa challenged here. He's up to it. 1 pitch and 1 away. Matsui trying to bunt his way on, and he's now 0 for 3 with a strikeout, a flyout, and that ground out. And it brings in Tejada 1 for 2. Now, Mark DeRosa said to me when the Cardinals first acquired him that he felt most comfortable over at second base, but we have watched him at third base. He looks terrific over there too.
He can play anywhere. You know, you can see him at first base also. But he just, you know, they play the corner outfield. He's just, his versatility just makes him such an attractive player. 7 home runs don't, you don't mind that either, do you?
Not at all. So Miguel Tejada, who is committed an error at shortstop tonight, he's been busy. Fly ball into shallow left. Lugo calling for it. The Cardinals shortstop tonight puts it away. 2 outs. Cardinal fans, when it comes to tickets, you deserve Major League service, so go online to StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the St. Louis Cardinals, and the only site with Fan Protect guarantee. Tonight it's game 2 of this 3-game series. The Cardinals in Houston will wrap it up tomorrow, off day Monday, and our next telecast on Fox Sports Midwest is Tuesday night from Citi Field in New York. Second time we have been in New York. Lee is homered tonight to account for their run, and Matt Holliday is homered for St. Louis. An opposite field shot. It's 1-1 here in the 6th. Carpenter picking up the pace and going right at Lee.
That's just, defense loves to play behind Carpenter because he's so quick. He throws so many strikes. They're always on their toes. When he misses, he just misses off the plate. In, out, up, and down. The only time he's in the middle of the plate is when it's by design, either down or up, but rarely in the strike zone.
1-2, a base hit to left. So Lee is 2 for 3 against Carpenter. It brings up Blum. 4 pitches against him, and all were fastballs.
Carpenter will save these secondary pitches for when he gets, you know, time with men on base. So
pitch count only at 70 right now for Chris Carpenter. And it brings in Blum.
Blum hit the ball hard twice to Albert at first.
So Wandy Rodriguez out with his right strained hamstring.
Good pitch right there. That cutter coming right in on the hands of a left-hander.
Blum twice has grounded to Pujols at first. He is holding that runner on. That's Carlos Lee, who at one point was, you know, look at the numbers. You wouldn't expect it being a big man, but Carlos Lee was a threat to steal at times.
And now the $100 million contract, and he'll tell you that 99.9% of that contract is from my offense. He's made a couple plays, nice plays in this series. One down the line in foul territory caught earlier. Wasn't that easy.
0-1 pitch. Talking about the Cardinals coaching staff, Dave Duncan, 30th season as a pitching coach, most all-time in baseball history. Galen Cisco, 28 years.
Galen was with Whitey Herzog for a big portion of that in Kansas City.
Think about the Cy Young Award winners that he's been associated with. Into right field, base hit as Lee was running on the pitch, and he'll wind up at third base. Runners at the corners and 2 outs. So base hit for Blum, extends it to Pence.
The walking lead there and takes off. Picks up the fly of the ball, then sees that it's down, goes on to third base. Now it'll be interesting, Dan, to see if, with runners on the corners, if Hunter Pence this time really gets the breaking ball work over.
Well, you talked about how Lugo looked to right to see where the ball was. If you're Carlos Lee, why are you looking at all this? 2 outs.
Good point.
Here's Pence.
And usually, if you look in, not look to the outfield.
I mean, either he catches it or it's down.
But it's Carlos. He's thinking about when his next yogurt time is.
If he's running and he saw that off the bat it was a base hit, should arrive easily to third. 2 outs, and here comes a 1-0 pitch.
Slider out there, cutter.
2-0. Hunter Pence tonight has struck out and grounded out to short. And I mentioned before how never made it into the All-Star game. He said that's his motivation the next time. He gets to one, he wants to play. So he has made it. 2-1. And the fans in Houston have really taken to him because he is a very aggressive player. You see very good numbers in this spot with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Not afraid to dive or get dirty. And very much involved in the community in Houston. That's the pitch right there that he has been struggling with against Carpenter.
He's also a Texas kid, isn't he?
Here's a pitch again to Pence. He has struggled with.
Breaking ball, just like you never pick up the flight of that.
A 2-2 pitch with runners at first and third. He got him. Throws him. Strikeout of Pence. 3 strikeouts for Carpenter. Matt Holliday coming up. Then in the fourth with single. Carlos Lee has gone deep to account for the Houston run. And here is Holliday in our recap presented by Infinity. 1-1 game here in the bottom of the 6th. First pitch taken for a ball outside. Holliday here, then Ludwig and Molina.
That's the third act in the Holliday show.
Let's get greedy. 1-0 pitch to Holliday. Bottom dropped out of that pitch. 1-1 the count. Cubs now leading 6-3 against the Marlins. Top of the 5th. Milwaukee and San Diego later tonight. One pitch to Matt. Chopped foul. Jason Michaels, the center fielder, shading Holliday a little bit to the opposite field.
Sure, I agree with that. I know his 2 home runs have been to right field, but he's a doubles machine. on the season. Holiday has 29 doubles.
Some big gap out there in left center. 1-2 pitch. 2-2.
Ed Romero, the bench coach, is next to Cooper right there, and he's trying to move the center fielder Michaels. I think trying to get him maybe at least straight up.
Cecil Cooper there on the left. Here's a 2-2 pitch to Holiday.
Well, Cecil has a good coaching staff. Mark Bailey, Missouri resident, he's their bullpen catcher. Got Ed Romero, and I remember Ted Simmons telling me when Romero was with Milwaukee, you know, that he was a good baseball guy. Jose Cruz, Dave Clark, Dewey Robinson's the pitching coach, Sean Berry the hitting coach, and good to see Sean feeling so well. Diagnosed earlier with kidney cancer. Had his kidney removed this season and feels good.
Pulcino with his second strikeout in relief of Rodriguez.
Breaking ball and gets Holiday swinging over the top.
We'll see Cincinnati first team back when we come back off the road trip, and they will be without Edison Volquez for the remainder of the season. May have Tommy John. They're not sure yet. He'll be shut down for the remainder of the year, though. He's 4-2. He only made 9 starts this year. He threw a career high 196 innings last year for Walt Jocketty and Dusty Baker. Won 17 games. He was an all-star. But now he is being shut down. It's a big loss for them.
Another reason why Rolen, we figured he'd waive his no trade clause, is because he requested a trade, and for a very good reason, to get off the turf.
0-1 pitch.
Turf kills his back.
I never thought that was a good spot for him physically.
No, exactly right.
I mean, there's some guys that, and I don't think it's a good spot for anybody because of that hard turf, but there's certain players that really struggle with that, and you know, he would be one of them with a sore back, and he's dealt with shoulder injuries obviously here in St. Louis. 0-2 pitch. Grounded to short. Tejada with it. 2 outs. The St. Louis Cardinals, the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services, and Fox Sports Midwest have joined together to encourage young people not to smoke, because once you start, it's hard to stop. Strike out tobacco so we can all breathe easier. Call the Missouri Tobacco Quit line at 1-800-QUIT-NOW. 2 outs. Here's Molina, who's 1 for 2. He has struck out his last time up with runners at first and second, and back in the second he doubled. Nobody on, 2 away. Molina with a base hit. This guided it right back up the middle. Take a look at the location here on this pitch to Yadier Molina.
Tony's some good off-speed pitches where he's gotten some hitters off balance out in front, but get the ball right up and in the middle of the plate. Yadi doing a nice job taking it back up central. At the location that Pulcino wanted.
Here's Schumacher, who's made the transition outfield to infield. So many times you've heard about Red Shandies.
A little different with Red because he was a minor league shortstop. So when he was playing in the outfield and came back to play second base, it was a little easier. Where Schumacher was a college shortstop but never played a day of professional baseball in the infield, and then to play second base was quite a remarkable transition. And there you see the great redhead.
45 seasons for Red in uniform as a player, coach, or manager with the Cardinals. He started in 1945 when he joined the club to fill in for Stan the Man, who was serving in the U.S. Navy. And Red Shandies all the way to the Hall of Fame, inducted back in 1989. What a class person, class player.
A lot of people don't realize it, but Red, you know, had an eye injury. And
great jump by Molina. The throw to second. Not in time. A stolen base for Yadier Molina. That's a heads-up play.
It's his 6th steal of the season in 7 attempts. But you could pick a guy blind. You got a big guy out there, very slow and high leg kick. So he gets down there, and give him some credit.
Puts himself in scoring position.
2 outs, very important. Remember, Schumacher is kind of like another leadoff hitter, batting in the 7th spot. So if he got thrown out there, you had a leadoff hitter up to start the next inning. It made sense if you get the good jump.
Of course, you played for Red Shandies, and just a remarkable guy away from the ballpark too.
Yeah,
wonderful man.
Class act all the way, and just wonderful family. Lost his dear wife Mary way too soon, but saw Colleen the other night, and just beautiful family.
2-2 Schumacher to first, and Coast has it. He'll step on the bag. We have played 6 in St. Louis. 1-1 game. Second Cardinal home run. That was back in the 2nd inning, and then Carlos Lee would answer with a home run of his own, both solo shots. And that happened in the 4th, or Hardy's prime cuts of the game. Let's hit out a play off the bat of Chris Coast. 7, 8, 9 against Carpenter. Carpenter has thrown 79 pitches. Now, I mentioned that the Cardinals have the off day on Monday, and then will be in New York Tuesday and Wednesday. Only a 2-game series. And Tony La Russa will see a team without Carlos Beltran. He will not return by Tuesday because he took batting practice today. He's going to miss at least 2 more weeks. Jose Reyes is out with a torn tendon in his leg. He's missing time. John Maine, 15-game winner 2 years ago, is dealing with a nerve injury in his back. J.J. Putz, elbow surgery, their setup man. And Carlos Delgado is out too. It's a long list of very good players out with injuries.
Played an oddity, playing 6 games against the Mets in New York, and only 5 games total against Philadelphia this season. Cardinals catch a break.
And Coast strikes out, and that's 4 tonight for Carpenter. And here's Quintero. Quintero singled back in the 3rd, and then singled past Albert Pujols in the 6th, just inside the first base line. Cardinals will have Colby Rasmus, Carpenter's spot, and Julio Lugo due up in their half of the 7th. That pitch taken low and away. And the 1-0 by Carpenter. They get a piece. It's a lot of injuries, though, that Jerry Manuel has had to deal with. That's a strike on the outside corner. Just missed.
Sure, Carp threw that pitch exactly where he wanted it.
If the Cardinals get to postseason play and can line up their rotation with Carpenter and Wainwright at the top of it, it's as good as anybody's in baseball. Would you say 1-2?
And then I'll say that. But the way Piñeiro's been throwing, you won't find too many clubs that can match 3 deep. And that's usually all you need in postseason.
And with Loesch, it's only a matter of time. He's still getting his stamina back.
And that's why the Cardinals' first 4. The Cardinals have the most wins from their rotation, 44. And they will not need a 5th starter until August 11th. I mentioned that Boggs was sent down today to activate Khalil Green. Had a nice talk last night with Wellemeyer. He's very much aware of the situation. He really is keeping a very positive.
How about this?
3 for 3.
Yep, the 8th place hitter, 3 for 3. Quintero. What you were saying about Todd?
Yeah, he's very, very positive. He understands the situation, and he understands that the fact that Michaels, as part of the double switch, DeBorn was thrown out, and the injury to Rodriguez, you find their center fielder Michaels batting in the 9th spot in his first plate appearance. But he also realizes that it's going to be very difficult for him to get much pitching time with 3 long men in that bullpen, with the way that the starters are eating up innings. But he was talking about, he was going to talk to Dave Duncan about throwing a simulated game, trying to do the different things, do his bullpens. But he feels in many ways he's very close to turning it around.
Scorecard missing a couple of players now. Bourne ejected their leadoff man, Wandy Rodriguez. He would only last 4 innings because of a hamstring injury. You see the dots. That's who's made the last out. There's a broken bat. Carpenter can go to second. Out there on the first. Double play. Double play started by the Cardinals. Chris Carpenter. Time to stretch here at Busch Stadium. Fulcino Still throwing in this ball game in relief of Wandy Rodriguez.
He's due up first in the 8th inning, top of the 8th inning. So he's looking at his 3rd inning of work. He's pitched very effective since coming in.
Cecil Cooper and Tony La Russa going head to head here in game 2. Colby Rasmus with Chris Carpenter on deck, and then Julio Lugo. Pitch count for Carpenter is above 90 now. And Colby bounces one that's fair to Coast. 1 pitch and 1 away. This could be an easy inning. Now with Carpenter up, and then they get the top of the lineup for Fulcino, who's really done a nice job. Remember, he came in and essentially hadn't warmed up, so he had to warm up in front of everybody just staring at him.
That's right. He's faced 10 batters. He has given up 3 hits, but 2 of them came in his 1st inning after 2 outs. Then he gave up a base hit after 2 outs in the 6th. Struck out Carpenter last at bat, and Chris has struck out twice tonight.
1 ball, no strikes with 1 out and nobody on for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 7th.
Get the feeling if you can get Carpenter 1 more run, that's all he'll need. And I'm sure the Astros feel the same way.
Here's a 2-0. Carpenter base hit inside the 3rd base line. Steps on the bag, on his way with a double. Chris Carpenter. How about that?
And Dan, you're the one that don't want him to ever swing.
Yeah, you're right. I'll stick to that.
But here, looked like a sliver coming off the bat as he makes contact and hits it right down the 3rd base line, down into the corner, tippy-toeing around the bags and into 2nd base with only 1 out. I said all he needs is a run. He's tried to help his own cause.
Lugo with Carpenter at 2nd base. Carpenter, if he wants, can really get a good secondary lead, as they're not even messing with trying to keep him close to the bag at 2nd base.
Get the big jump out there, but don't get so comfortable that you leave yourself to be picked off, by catcher throwing you out as you try to get back to 2nd.
Lugo is struck out back in the 1st. He's grounded out to 2nd and has an infield base hit in the 5th. September of 05, Carpenter had 2 doubles, and he gets his 3rd career double tonight. All 3 have been against the Houston Astros. Lifetime for Carpenter.
There's 26 career hits. That was his 5th hit of the season this year.
Julio's always staring at that bat.
Sometimes you wonder, is he trying to peak location?
The 2-1 scoots away. It is not a foul ball, and Carpenter lines up at 3rd as the catcher Quintero fell down near the backstop. He's got a smile on his face. And Carpenter, I'm sure, thought it was a foul ball. But Lugo did not get a piece. And the umpire quickly made the decision, too. You'll see him here make the motion of that being not a foul ball.
Yeah, it's a pass ball. I think Carpenter's yelling at him to run, thinking it was strike 3, which he was wrong.
So the infield now for Houston has to come in. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and Lugo could put the Cardinals on top here in their half of the 7th. Remember, it was late in the ball game last night when the Cardinals finally took the lead against the Astros. A tough loss for them.
It's relaxed. Pressure's on the Astros. So Lugo want to be up in this situation. Just did a fly ball.
Lugo with 3 RBIs wearing that Cardinal uniform.
Hunter Pence in right field is the only outfielder that has any chance of throwing out Carpenter because he's so much more shallow.
3-2 pitch. Michael's back. Carpenter will tag up. Here it comes. Throw to the plate, and Carpenter will score. The Cardinals have the lead 2-1. Lugo picks up the RBI. I'll tell you what, Jose Oquendo was as close as a third base coach can be with a runner at third to make sure that he didn't leave early and got him ready to roll. Watch this.
He's right there. He's right there. He's trying not to touch him and make sure that he catches the ball. And that's deep enough. That's going to score anybody. But Carpenter right now needs a little breather.
Sure does.
Pass, the double, the pass ball, and then scoring on the sac fly.
Remember the game against Santana, New York, when Carpenter was on the base paths, and it seemed like it took a little bit from him when he went back out on the mound. He pitched a great game, but certainly he's so focused on pitching. It's one of the last things I'm sure he's thinking about. As DeRosa swings and misses.
Yeah, a lot of times when you're pitching, when you get late in the game, and if you were the ilk of Carpenter, you're sitting there going, I think in this case he wants a little bit of time to kind of relax and catch his breath. But many times a guy who sit there and go, hey, I got my one run. That's all I need. Don't have a long. I just can't wait to get back out there.
The Cardinals retake the lead in the form of Chris Carpenter following his double. He scores on the RBI by Lugo. After 7, it's 2-1. Here in St. Louis, the Cardinals have regained the lead. It's 2-1 here at Busch Stadium as Chris Carpenter has scored the go-ahead run. RBI by Lugo. The other RBI for St. Louis was Matt Holliday with a solo home run back in the second inning. This is Matt Keita. He's a switch hitter, hitting .220 on the year, and Keita in 31 games, no home runs, 5 RBIs. One of those RBIs, though, was last night. And the first pitch to him, swung on and missed.
Big RBI last night.
Sure was, and the Cardinals then had to tie it back up late and win it on the RBI by Ricky Anquillo. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball, strike 2. Well, Chino, pretty good work out of the bullpen where he had to warm up. The main stage, not in the bullpen after Wandy Rodriguez had to leave with an apparent leg injury. Keita bounces it foul. 8th inning here in St. Louis. Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin with you. 2-1 Cardinals. Once again, another well-played game on both sides. Pitch count at 94 for Carpenter. If he is efficient, Tony La Russa in the back of his mind right now is thinking, do I let him go back out there for the 9th?
I think it's a real possibility. Franklin's already pitched a couple days in a row, including a 1+ inning outing.
Here's a pitch-by-pitch feature presented by Chevrolet as he carves up Cade off the bench.
As a cutter, you get the head of the count, and the breaking ball, 0-2. Then trying to backdoor the breaking ball, he fouls it off, and then another breaking ball coming in, the cutter, and gets the strikeout. It's his 5th strikeout of the night.
Fastball. And a strike to Matsui. Matsui is grounded to third. He's flied out to center, and he is struck out his first time up. DeRosa playing in. Leery of the bunt. On a hop, though, to second base. 2 away. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Quick note on Matsui. He's 11 hits away from reaching 2,000 in his Major League Baseball and Japanese career.
Here's Tejada. When he came over, he was known as strictly a defensive player.
How about that breaking ball there? And you got the buckling, a former American League MVP.
Well, you talked about it, how as this game is worn on, you figured that his breaking ball would be better.
Well, not only that, but just look at his pace, man. He's in killer instinct, in killer mode, just trying to say, okay, I've got my win. Now I want my complete game. I want to just finish what I started, and that's what you love about him, just his competitive nature.
2 outs, nobody on. 2-1 Cardinals. Redbirds in their half of the 8th will have Pujols, Holiday, and Ludwig. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Tejada swing and a miss. Look at that pitch move.
It's that cutter speed, you know, where you're going out there and you just, like you said, everything's picked up a little bit. He'll slow it up when he has to, but for the most part, he's on attack mode.
Pitch count at 1-0-2.
Back to the cutter.
A grounder to Schumacher. He's got it. This crowd of 45,074 here tonight, enjoying every minute of it. The 20th sellout of the season. Big bats coming up for the Cardinals. It's 2-1. In for Houston here in the bottom of the 8th, Jose Valverde.
Now they're trying to maximize their chance to keep this a 1-run deficit and let their offense do it in the 9th inning.
They call him Papa Grande. Originally signed when he was 18 by the Diamondbacks. Rolaids Relief Man of the Year in 07 when he had 47 saves. He chews exactly 3 pieces of gum while pitching, as he is highly superstitious, has never stepped on a foul line. Last year, 44 saves with the Astros, 47, as I mentioned before, in 07 with Arizona. And here is Albert Pujols. So power against power right here.
That was an interesting trade that the Diamondbacks in Houston made, involving, kind of a switch of bullpens, as Valverde led the league with those 47 saves, and they got traded. Qualls was the big piece going the other way.
1-0 pitch. Marlins trying to make a game of it. It's now in the bottom of the 6th. And it's a 6-5 game for Chicago as they lead it. Carlos Zambrano was pulled after 3 innings. Stiffness in his back. That's a team that has had their fair share of injuries this year.
The stars are aligning for the Cardinals, aren't they?
And the Cubs on the road a bunch.
Yeah, that's worth noting is Albert takes a strike. It's 2 balls, 1 strike. But Chicago, 33-19 at home. And now they've got that stretch on the road where they are 7 games under 500 and play on the road quite a bit.
I believe it's 17 of the next 23 for the Cubs on the road. 2-1 pitch. Chased by Pujols. A lot of flash bulbs popping as nightfall is upon us here in the Midwest. A sold out crowd. How about that? The 20th sellout of the year here at Busch Stadium, and we've had 6 of them alone in this week.
I think it's great. Fans have acknowledged the trades Don Mozeliak has made, and I have to say a favorable reaction as the turnstiles have been clicking.
Ooh, right on the pitch.
I just wonder if Arizona got a little tired of Valverde's mannerisms and on the mound. There you get an idea of some of the flash bulbs.
Two and 2 the count on Pujols. Albert trying to pick up his first hit. He's reached on an air, flied to center, and grounded out to third. The 2-2. Shallow center.
Michaels doesn't see it
And makes a basket catch.
One point it looked like he was struggling trying to find it, as really, as you say, that the lights had not taken effect, as it really hadn't gotten dark. There you see signaling, looked down even one time, and now he picks it up and makes the basket catch.
No activity for the Cardinals in the bullpen, so Carpenter will try to finish it off. Lee, Blum, and Pence due up.
If you can get by and have Carpenter finish this game and not have to use Franklin, then you're in good shape for tomorrow. He's pitched 2 or 3 days in a row.
Holiday, left center, to the track, to the wall. It is a home run. Holiday, his second of the night. This guy's something else.
No 4 for 4, but I guess we'll take the 3 for 4 with a pair of home runs. And that is a big, big insurance run. And now we'll get the curtain call.
Well, the other night you had to wait to see if Manny caught it. This one you had to wait and see if Michaels got it.
I was watching the fans, and they told me that they got it.
I was watching the monitor, and I still couldn't tell.
Well, I saw the fans in the front row were signaling the home run, and you had the luxury of being the first one to call it.
I definitely waited.
Well, let's see it again. Right in the middle of the plate, down and in, and he drives it. Michael's going up on the wall, and look at that fan reaching
Very
over.
close.
Wow, that's the first time we've ever seen really a glove kind of over the fence. It would have ended up in the shrubbery.
The glove or a hat. But either way, somebody reaching over.
Something dark, so it could have been the hat, but he didn't lose the sunglasses if it was the hat.
And now the cell phone starts to ring. Holiday tonight, 1 home run, 360, the other at 395 feet. Popped up on the infield. That is a big, big insurance run. What a run that Matt Holliday is on right now. 20 for 33 in his first 9 games with the Cardinals. Average above 600. 6 doubles. 3 home runs. 2 of the 3 tonight.
And 9 games and 10 RBIs.
Wow. Here's Molina, who has doubled and singled. I noticed that the gentleman that makes sure the fireworks go off with Manny the other night, the fireworks went off when he caught the ball. They made sure the ball was over the fence this time, and then the fireworks went off.
Well, he was listening to your broadcast.
Oh, we were all over it, Al. All over it.
I said you.
1-0 pitch. Molina guides it into right field. Pence won't get it. Fair ball. Yadier Molina, 3-hit night. 2 singles and a double. He's gone up the middle. He has doubled into left center, and this one to right field. Just inside that first base line.
Ball up out over the plate and doing what he should do. Go with the pitch. They brought in Valverde, their closer, here in the 8th inning, to make sure it stayed a 2-1 game, and Holiday made sure it's not a 2-1 game. See if Skip can add to it. Give another insurance run or 2. Dan, here's another situation where late in the ball game the Cardinals have scored in the 7th and 8th inning.
And a strike to Schumacher. Skip Schumacher tonight is lined out to left, hit into a fielder's choice, and grounded out to first. Short lead at first for Molina, who has stolen a base tonight. Carpenter scored the 2nd run. Matt Holliday scored the other 2 with 2 solo home runs. One-two pitch. Schumacher is swinging a miss, and that sends us to the 9th. Matt Holliday has given the Cardinals a 2-run lead. Carpenter back to work to try to finish it. 3-1 Cardinals.
Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live. Pat Parris and Rick Horton are at Lumiere Place. Matt Holliday continues to mash. They'll look at his night. They'll look at Chris Carpenter's outstanding work of late. And we'll have player reaction straight from the Cardinal clubhouse. It's coming up after the game. For now, it's back to Dan and Al.
All right, Jim, thank you. This crowd is into it here in the 9th inning. They want to see Carpenter finish it off. The 0-1 pitch to Lee off the end of the bat. Center field for the first out. One away.
Big out is Carlos Lee has been a bit of a nemesis today for Carpenter. And Quintero, who's got 3 for 3 off of Chris, he probably won't kid up. As Blum and Pence hopefully are the last 2 Astros hopes.
Back on June 4th, Chris Carpenter went 9 innings, gave up 3 hits against Cincinnati. First pitch with 1 out, taken for a ball by Blum. Blum tonight twice has grounded to Pujols and has also singled.
That was to right field, so he's pulled all pitches.
Popped up, out of play. Pitch count at 106 for Carpenter.
What a beautiful night. And Cardinal fans are having a wonderful time. And
here's a 1-1 pitch. Just missed on the inside corner.
Dan, you talk about a homestand that's just been chock full of exciting baseball. That's what the Cardinals have seen in the 4 games against the Dodgers and the first 2 games here against the Astros. Very competitive games.
The 2-1. May have chased a ball and helped him out 2-2, and a nice play by one of the Cardinals in the dugout.
There's Brendan Ryan.
2-2 the count. Let's see what Molina wants.
They want the curveball, they want the fastball, and they want the cutter, they want the changeup, fastball in. And now I'll think about it again. First fastball was away, and they'll settle on the fastball in.
2-2.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
How does Blum take that pitch, and how is he not rung up on it? Fastball away.
And a 3-2 pitch. Popped up. Left side. DeRosa calls for it. 2 outs. Another masterpiece being put together here by Carpenter, and he is 1 out away.
And Hunter Pence, who's had a tough time against Carpenter, is due up.
Our Budweiser player of the game, Chris Carpenter, no doubt. 8 2/3 so far. Scored the go-ahead run after his double as well. The insurance for Holiday. He could have been your player of the game as he has 2 home runs. Here's Hunter Pence. Carpenter has had his number. First pitch in the air. Shallow left. Lugo wants it. Cardinals win it 3-1. A gem by Carpenter tonight. He goes all the way.
What a great ball game. Great starting pitching and all the pitching you need, and then all the offense from Holiday.
Post-game show is coming up. The home team has won the last